Hey, have you ever thought about how you communicate? The words that come out of your mouth, the body language that you use. Are you leaning in? Are you leaning out? Are you talking really fast? Is your tone off, meaning sounding aggressive? Like, do you openly communicate in a positive way? And we're going to talk about today communicating your boundaries. So, how to communicate your boundaries. All right. Before we jump into that, I am Marshawn Olanio, your favorite shift relationship strategist, where I help Black Christian women that are married or in long term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift you to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated. Now, boundaries are very important in any relationship, not to mention the boundaries that you have with yourself, as well as the boundaries that you set and keep with your partner or with your spouse. Now, one of the first ways to make sure that you are openly communicating your boundaries with your spouse is to talk about your feelings. Yes, your feelings, specifically the way things made you feel. A way to do this is to use I statements. I've talked about I statements here before. The purpose of I statements is to not shame, blame, or make your partner feel guilty, and really is to allow them to really hear what you're saying so they're not on the defensive. Right? So you want to use I statements, talking about your feelings, the way that something happened, the way that something went down, that you didn't like, that you didn't approve of. And so what you're saying is, I felt this way when that particular thing happen. Using I statements is how you get your boundaries across, because when you're using I statements, you are no longer pointing the finger at your spouse. You're no longer blaming your spouse. You are simply stating the facts, your feelings, the way that you feel. So use I statements in order to communicate your boundaries to your spouse. The second thing that I want you to think about when you're trying to communicate your feelings to your spouse openly is to be honest and speak your truth. When you go and talk, there is no sense in you talking about something that you're not being honest and open about, and specifically speaking your truth about. Because why are you having this conversation? Why are you bringing these things or thing up if you're not going to be truthful about the way that it's making you feel, about the things that you saw that you did not like, and then how to actually correct these things, right? Because no matter how it will be received by your spouse, you must be willing to speak your truth. Now, the truth of the matter is, sometimes you're going to be a little nervous when it's time to open up and speak your truth and say the things that you need to say to your spouse. But if you hold them inside, if you never speak up for the things that you want, for the things that you need, for the things that you desire, for the things that you need to stop happening in your relationship, then number one, your spouse is never going to know. And number two, you're going to feel upset and angry at yourself for allowing these things to continue to occur and go on and on and on without your external approval. So you want to be able to speak your truth, speak honest, and just say what you need to say, no matter how it's going to be received by your spouse. Because the truth of the matter is, you cannot control the way they receive your message. You cannot control the way your spouse responds or reacts, and you definitely cannot control the way they feel about what you just delivered to them. That is their own responsibility. So you have to take the responsibility of yourself and still deliver the message. Now, I am going to say, watch your tone of voice, right? No reason to yell. There's definitely no reason to blame, shame, and point the finger, because you want to keep their defenses down so you can deliver the message that you need to deliver, instead of going down the rabbit hole of now talking about or arguing back and forth about something that you said or the way that you said it. Stick to the facts. Say what you need to say. If you need to write it down before you go and speak to your spouse, then do just that, so you stay on course, and so you're not just yelling at one another, where you're really not talking about anything. You guys are just fussing. You guys are just fighting, right? So I want you to be really clear about the things that you want to say when it's time for you to go and speak, which actually brings me to point number 3, which is to speak with clarity. And of course, speak with love and speak with respect to your partner. Listen, At the end of that conversation, if you are speaking with clarity as well as being honest, your spouse has no reason to walk away scratching his head, trying to figure out what the heck that conversation was actually about. What are you asking him to do? How can he win you back in this situation or in this scenario? If he's walking away scratching his head, literally or figuratively, then you have not been as clear as you could have been or as you need to be. So you have to practice being a better communicator. And again, if you need to write down the things that you need to say so you can stay on course, so you can make sure that each and every one of your points are delivered, so your spouse is not leaving scratching his head, then do just that. Don't just leave this to chance. See, I talk about being intentional on this channel all the time because we must be intentional with how we are showing up, the things that we are saying, the things that we are not doing, as well as the things that we are doing. Because your word is everything in your relationship, as well as the actions behind the words that you are speaking. If your actions do not match up to the words that you are speaking, then it really just does not matter. Because after a while, you're not going to be trusted anyway. So speak your truth, speak with clarity, write notes, take notes before you go and talk to your partner or spouse so you are prepared for the way that you want this conversation to be led, as well as all of the things that you want to say while speaking to your spouse in that moment. You have to be clear. This is how you get your boundaries met in your relationship, by you being very clear about what the boundaries are and then relaying the message to your spouse, as well as the consequences that come from the boundaries being pushed too far. Because a lot of people have a tendency to create boundaries, but then they don't stick to the boundaries. Or them sticking to the boundaries really doesn't look like it's a consequence of enough for the person to not do it again. Right? So you have to make consequences enough to make the person think, if I do this, am I ready to handle what we discussed previously? And if they are, they'll do it, right? If they're not, they will have second and third thoughts before they actually go and take action in the wrong way. But you must have boundaries in order for you to feel good about yourself, in order for you to understand the things that you even need in the relationship, because it's not all about the other person. It must be about the things that you need as well. And so the best way to do that is for you to remember what you need, articulate it to your spouse so you feel good about yourself, so you also know that you are worth asking for these things, as well as making sure that some consequences are in place if things do not go the way that the both of you discuss them. Now, if you need some help with your relationship, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I have a link down in the description box below. It is bit.ly/help my relationship, where the H in help is capitalized. It's all one word, help my relationship. Go ahead and sign up for your 30-minute coaching strategy conversation, where I help you to get together one thing during that 30-minute conversation, so I can get you from where you are today to where you really want to be. Just think about, if you take intentional action on one thing per week, that is now 52 different things that you have taken action, not only in the relationship with yourself, but also the relationship with your spouse. You will notice a significant difference if you just take one action a week and perfect that thing during the week. And then you must compound it. It's not like one thing this week and then you throw that thing away, and then I'm gonna work on the next thing and then you throw that thing away. No, this is continuous work to build upon, to make sure that you are the best woman that you need to be, as well as being a part of and creating the best relationship that you can be a part of. I am Marshawn Alanio. I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. All right, now I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.